A very good morning to you, and thank you so much for finding time to being with us. Today being the Monday, 11th of April 2022. My name is Miriam Ogutu, and the show is Good Morning Africa, and we're coming to you as usual from Kenya's capital here in Nairobi. And being that it's a Monday, we have so much in store for you. But first, I'll bring us up to date with the latest by going through the headlines of the leading newspapers from the continent, from Kenya, and then we shall look at some from the continent. And we start with the Star newspaper. The main headline, Haji, no graft charges for governors, MPs. DPP hands politicians major reprieve after slamming brakes on their prosecution. The story is on page 4 and 5. And just up there, halted DCI and EACC will, however, proceed with anti-corruption investigations. All right. And then Azimio City tough options as Kenya Kwanza names lineup. And we see that settlement that UDA reached over the weekend, where now Bishop Margaret Wanjiru will be running as the UDA Senator's aspirant here, flag bearer here in Nairobi, and Senator Johnson Sakaja will call for the governor's position. And the Westlands Member of Parliament, Timo Nyonyi, has already announced that he wants to run for the governor's seat here in the city through the ODM ticket. Of course, I don't know if that has been confirmed and agreed upon by ODM. I guess not. And KNCCI boss Richard Ngati as well, running for the governor's seat here in Nairobi in the Jubilee tickets. I think that will be a headache there for Azimio to settle for one candidate. Some just call me a dog, says Siaya Widow, as women fight for political space in campaign. That is on page 2. And DP Ruto plots showdown with President Kenyatta over proposed high taxes. That is on page 6. And Coalition Party versus Alliance of Parties, that is an opinion piece by Eric Nahurenya on page 17. And Survivor helps others beat dreaded disease, war against cancer. The story is on page 3. We turn our attention to the Standard newspaper. The main headline, fresh running mate headache for Raila. Machakos governor offers to deputize as new leader days after Kalonzo said he wants the seat. Nakuru governor insists Mount Kenya will accept nothing less than the DP slot. You'll find that on page 5. Chiloba, you have till Friday to list phone communications authority boss warn subscribers who fail to comply will be switched off, as he tasks telcos to have digital platform for self-registration. The story is on page 6. Eldoret delivers world-class marathon. That is on the sport pages 46 and 48. And Ruto criticizes hate speech list. You'll find that on page 10 and 11. And then the main pictorial. Peace calls on Palm Sunday. Bishops urge Kenyans to avoid election violence as Christians celebrate Palm Sunday, the day Jesus made a triumphant entry into Jerusalem before his crucifixion in Rome. The Pope also called for peace between Russia and Ukraine. And of course, the main pictorial there is Reverend Father Simon Kamomoe leads faithful from the Holy Family Basilica in Nairobi in celebrations to mark Palm Sunday yesterday. And then we turn our attention to the Daily Nation and the main headline, I'll trash Uhuru's punitive budget. Deputy President William Ruto yesterday opened a new battlefront with his boss, President Kenyatta, over the 2022-2023 budget and asked MPs allied to him to shoot it down when it comes to the House for debate. And should the legislators fail to alter the Finance Bill 2022, the DP promised to dismember it if he wins the State House race in August 9th general election. The story is on page 4. Is Raila a victim of blackmail in Azimio? ODM chief seems to be struggling to satisfying more than 20 parties supporting his bid, with some even accusing him of dishonesty. His major dilemma is how to satisfy Wiper's Kalonzo Musyoka, while at the same time keeping the 3 Ukambani governors happy. That is on page 5. Chiloba moves to quell fears on registration of SIM cards. That is on the back page. And new offer adds twist and rush to sell the teacher-owned Spire Bank. That also is a story you'll find on the back page. And COVID infection increases diabetes risk. New study shows, so that is on page 12. And getting ready for Easter, Christians mark Palm Sunday, and that is the main pictorial on the front page on the Daily Nation this morning. So at this point, we are joined by Gladwell Kiragu from Nairobi. She's a journalist and our in-house analyst. Gladwell, a very good morning to you.
Very good morning to you, Miriam. Good morning to my brother Paul. Good morning to our viewers.
And I see Paul is still setting up. So once Paul is able to join us, I'll bring Paul. Paul, yes, I can see he's still setting up. So I finished with the headlines this morning and the leading newspapers. I don't have the regional newspapers yet, but maybe later on as we continue with the show. So let's just look at the main headline on the Daily Nation. Before we look at the main headline, which is I'll trash Uhuru's punitive budget, let's first look at what Chiloba said yesterday, and I think it is on the back page on the Daily Nation. Millions of Kenyans can heave a sign of relief as their lines will not be disconnected if they fail to register them afresh, as had been widely feared. The Communications Authority of Kenya yesterday clarified that subscribers who have already registered their SIM cards, which can be confirmed by dialing the code *106 hash, can rest easy. Communications Authority Director General Ezra Chiloba said at a press conference in Nairobi that the directive is part of regulations that were gazetted on August 14, 2015. This is not a registration or fresh registration. It is an opportunity for operators and their customers to validate respective details of registration. The exercise will address the documentation gaps that have become commonplace, he said. And of course, yesterday I was and over the weekend at different places, and I saw lines of Kenyans queuing, to go confirm their registration. And then later on, of course, I haven't, because I've been busy, I haven't gotten time. And then in the evening, I see Chiloba coming out and saying, no, you don't have to go there physically. Just dial this number and confirm the *106 hash and confirm, the numbers that have been registered on your ID. And I thought, I felt sorry for the Kenyans who had taken their time and had queued from, when this, requirement was made. And I don't know, why was it so difficult for them to make this clear from the get-go, Gladwell? And I don't know if you physically went to the shops and registered and confirmed your number again.
Miriam, I won't lie to you. For the first time, I was against something that has been said. I didn't even bother checking, because when I bought my line at the first place, I went with my ID and it was registered under my name. So why should I go queue, waste my time? Yet I know my line is registered. About the USSD code, the *106, it was just from the word go, I think, like a week ago. So you also checked with your phone, but now the issue is Ezra Chiloba had not said personally. It was just sort of a propaganda, but to those who took it serious and did look using the *106, they saw the results. And yes, it is portraying your names and the whole process of, it's portraying if the number is shared or not. Another thing with this, the rules center of the just wake up and just say that, can you go check your line if it is registered? For Christ's sake, Miriam, when you buy your line, you have to register it. And the issue I'm having with Safaricom, or rather, even Safaricom is a little bit better of sort of Airtel. If it was Airtel who was saying such, Airtel, they just come around on a Zunguka telling you buy the card that is it 50 bob and you get a top of Airtel of that. If it was Airtel who was saying so, that could be another case. But Safaricom, they are big dealers. And again, with the issue of you have to go, I saw someone asking, is there any other option rather than going, because I'm in Parklands, I have to get a Safaricom shop, I have to go to the Huduma number, I don't know, have to go to where will I get that time? People work from 8 to 5. Where would you, before you reach, for example, in town, maybe in Parklands or somewhere else, the traffic is much, and there is no time, you late, how will you register that line? Mm-hmm. So I think with Safaricom, the communication they had is a little bit poor. And also, you just can't blast Kenyans that after a period of it, the lines will be closed. For Christ's sake, Miriam, people currently with the current economy, we are so busy hustling. So you just can't add another task on our shoulders.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you. And just to be the devil's advocate, because my main line is Airtel from over 15 years ago. So, but they send us a text. They've been sending us, and so I self-registered online, so I didn't have to go physically. So, in that regard, Airtel, made it easier for us. And I don't think it's a small timer, but of course, we know that Safaricom has more subscribers, and you could see that it is in the Safaricom shops or agents that we long queues were experienced. I saw one yesterday at Sarit Center, and on Saturday on my way to along Mombasa Road. Long queues on people trying to go check the details, and I don't know, register again, because even the information I think was not very clear what people needed to do. And so because of what seemed like a threat of being locked out of your line, so many people went there to see if they could register or they could check the details. And and then only for the Communications Authority yesterday to come and say, oh no, you don't have to go there physically. You could just dial the *106# and check, the details. And so I don't know, Paul Onyango, what has been your experience, and did you manage to go and physically have this process done?
Thank you, Miriam, and the rest.
We are not able to hear you. I don't know how you've placed your speaker, your microphone. Yeah. Please, could you be audible?
You are listening. You are getting me.
No, we seem to be having an issue with your connection. Is not very clear.
Are you getting me?
Well, could you talk? We hear. Just go ahead.
Hearing me now? Okay. Me, I know the shops to registrations, but I was really worried about communication that was coming from communication authority and also the service providers for cell phones. It appears that some Kenyans on the other hand, some are threatening to why they are making line up. Meanwhile, the lines that are being used already. So, which the standards were they to be added already registered. So appeared that issue of photos,
Paul, I'm afraid we can't really hear you. Could you switch to audio, and then we see if we can, we can hear you, because we are unable to really understand what you're saying. You're cutting off, so we're not able to hear. So could you just switch to audio? We see if it will make a difference.
Okay.
Okay, so as Paul does that, of course, Gladwell, an issue also that you brought up that we saw the Communications Authority address yesterday, and that is that the authority has banned hawking of SIM cards, saying new subscribers should buy lines at authorized dealers of service providers. And I think a lot of Kenyans would prefer buying their lines from the shops, dealers themselves. But others also find that a lot too hectic, so they prefer buying, lines from hawkers. And we've seen, all the major, service providers, the lines being sold, be it Safaricom, Airtel, Telcom, being sold in the streets. And I've always wondered how safe are you leaving the details with this person here that you'll come maybe tomorrow and you not find them. I've always had some problems with that. So it was about time that the Communications Authority addressed that issue. So will this help with the con game and what you've been seeing? Because I'm assuming these are people who have been registering their lines in this kinds of way from the streets. Will this help curb the conning?
Yeah. Miriam, yes, I think when you buy a new line, can you register it in a shop dealer? other than buying it from the street vendors. Because, for example, and I'm giving a good example with Airtel, because that is where more people get confusing. Because with Airtel, actually, you just get out wherever I am, you'll just get an Airtel line with 50 bob. And there's something I love about Truecaller, because when you call the true name of the owner of that line, it still displays the name of the owner. I once called somebody to the name had a funny the name appeared to be very funny, not even related to the person. And I asked him, why is your phone saying 123? And he was like, I just bought it. And I asked him, how safe are you? Because what I was made to understand is when for example, a person dies or maybe one line is inactive for a period of time, the Airtel or the other lines, what they do, they switch it off and they sell it to another person. So, I didn't get the whole issue, because if you can manage to switch it off and then you resell the number again, that means the person who had it can still use it. I once had a Safaricom line as 0706. Currently, when I call it, that line just fell and it got lost. But when I call it currently, it is still active. So you see, I wish we Kenyans, we can stop the ignorance, because we're so good in arrogance, most of us Kenyans. Go to the shop and it won't cost you anything, and have a genuine line that won't cost you trouble in the future.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, with the con games, that's why people get conned money, because I will say, my line, I don't know how my phone was hacked, my M-Pesa was hacked, and money was stolen. Now this hacking is very easy and very common. So just go to a dealer, get a line that, when it gets an issue, just go back to that shop. The same way you can purchase a phone in a Safaricom shop, and you are given a warrant, and maybe this phone can't function within the 2-3 months and it gets an issue, it'll go back. The same thing with the line. When it's not functioning, you'll go back to the same place and say, bought this line here, 1, 2, 3, and it's happening, and they do replacement or they help you out. But with the vendor, you just go, what will they do? You will never even see the person again.
Okay. Yes, indeed. Thank you so much. Paul, I don't know if you can hear me. Good morning.
Good morning.
Well, not clearly.
Hear me?
It's still cutting off. You're not able to really get what you're saying. Your network is not very good.
Not hear, but
No, I think we'll just let you go for right now, because your network is not very good. We have to move on to other matters. And of course, that's a good move. So hopefully that will help curb the conning and whatever else that has been happening. But I wish this move and this registration of SIM cards were made, the regulations and whatever, was made clearer to Kenyans, because a lot of Kenyans have been panicking, only for the Communications Authority to come in and say, you don't really have to go there physically. But, nevertheless, I think that will make it easier for more Kenyans to now rest easy as they check their details. I already checked my details, so we are good. And let's turn on to some other news. And on page 4, let's look at the Star newspaper, page 4 and 5, on matters corruption. And Director of Public Prosecutions, Haji, has handed politicians a major reprieve after he slammed brakes on the prosecution of a graft until after the August polls. The DPP, in an exclusive interview with the Star, said his office has halted approval of corruption files linked to any politician during the electioneering period. We don't want to be accused of making decisions based on political leanings, Haji said. The DPP said his office will uphold international best practices on prosecution of politicians accused of corruption, especially during election campaigns. I don't know, what is your thought on this, Gladwell?
Miriam, currently everybody is trying to be seen how best he or she is working, most of these politicians. And when you talk of curbing corruption, why wait for the election? Yet so many politicians currently should be carved out. Why go particularly with the election? I always say, can you stop sugarcoating these people? These people are doing us no good currently. you could start from here before we go to the election, because the people who are still going, the people who want us to be elected, most of them have played a part in the corruption part. So I don't know why he's saying that most when he's leading to the election. Can he start it now? Because I believe he got a list of them.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And a lot of these cases have not started today. Others were like Watito's cases from like 3 years ago or something like that. And others, these are cases that have been there. So why would you halt them now, and not prefer charges against these people? And yet this has nothing to do with politics. Now that he talks like that, it's easier to say, okay, so how is this tied to politics? Because if I think this is a separate matter. If they did wrong and this case has been ongoing, why does it have to be halted now until the elections are over, and then you allow Kenyans to elect people who have questionable characters, to represent them?
Yes, exactly, Miriam. And I'm glad you brought up the issue of Waitito. I remember Waitito and Sonko, they have slept in those prisons, I think, over the weekend. But what happens with the NYS scandal, Anne Waiguru, she was just summoned, Miriam. She was not arrested. She has never tested the bus. She has never slept even a day in. So why does these matters of corruption just fall onto us, some people, and others are just left scot-free? That we should start from there. Are some politicians special than others? Are some characters much special than others? Because the same way they handled and they roughly bundled, Waitito and Sonko and others who are arrested. I don't know. And again, Dendenyoro, there was a time he was live on Citizen and he was waited outside, by the way, you can remember the clip, by the police after he has just finished his interview, and he was carried away. I don't know what, I can't quite remember what he has done. Are some politicians special than others, that when these one get arrested because of such an issue, the other cannot be arrested? So when you just say you are just arresting, they are going to prevent corruption because of the election, it doesn't make sense. These people, we've been having corrupt leaders for so long, and you can't tell me that you're going to do so because of the elections. The same characters that are pleading for our votes, the same character who are standing for MCA MPs, they're the same people who get bundles, who got cases with corruption. Can you start them? Can you start from there? Curb them out. We get a free election and a fresh one. And from there, Miriam, if some of these characters who are in politics, in government, can just be curbed out, I believe we can have a better country.
Mm-hmm. All right. And of course, some of the governors facing graft charges include Muthomi Njuki of Tharaka Nithi, Ali Korane of Garissa, Okoth Obado of Migori, Moses Lenol Kulal of Samburu, Anne Waiguru Kirinyaga, Tahim Twaha of Lamu, and Dadu Godana of Tana River. Now, this means that the DCI and the EACC will proceed with their anti-corruption investigations, but the ODPP will not grant prosecution, at least until after the polls. The directive will slow down the arraignment of political heavyweights currently facing prosecution for graft-related charges. Last month, the EACC said it had concluded investigations into corruption allegations involving 3 governors. The agency said the files were ready for the immediate prosecution of Governors Anne Waiguru of Kirinyaga, Tana River, Dado Godana, and Lamu's Fahim Twaha. However, the DPP's order will jolt the prosecution plans. See, now the EACC had concluded that, and now the DPP is saying, no, we can't prosecute these matters right now. Haji said there will be no harm waiting for some months for the political season to slide away. So, justice delayed is justice denied. We all know that. Is this for the best interest of the country, this decision that the DPP has taken?
No, it's not for the best. So come again, Miriam.
I'm just saying, because they're saying they will not initiate prosecution until after the election is done, and we know that justice delayed is justice denied. So this decision that the DPP has taken, is it for the good of the country?
Miriam, the reason our country is always behind, yet we got resources in our countries because of the leaders we're having. You just can't say you're delaying because you just come back to the case after election. what sense will it make? For example, somebody like Waigoro, she's in competition with Ngirishi. What happens when, for example, Waigoro wins the case? The same corrupt woman gets that position back. Is that better for the Kirinyaga people? The Kirinyaga people still continue to suffer. So why wait for after the election? Can you do it now? We need better leaders in our country. And that's why our Kenya, by the way, it's very beautiful, full of and rich in resources, but these resources always they vanish into the hands of some people. So I don't think why you should wait until elections are done. Can you do it now? And I wish our Kenyan people, and that's why I always say, can we see beyond our nose? We need to reason out because we need a better country. The same leaders, the same. I mean, Miriam, we're always complaining, but we're complaining of the same leaders. The same leaders who still want to lead you again. We should have learned our lesson for a very long time ago. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So can they start it from now? You just can't wait after elections.
Mm-hmm. Very well. So, of course, this will be a big win for politicians in governor, MP, senator, and MCA seats, but who are under investigations over corruption. Deputy President William Ruto has been accusing investigative agencies, including the Director of Criminal Investigations and the Ethics and Anti-Corruption, of running political errands. Some of the DP's allies, including some governors and MPs, are facing prosecution or under graft investigation. And so this brings us to the point, because you would think that EACC and these other institutions are independent. So why would they factor their decision on political leanings? Why would they do that?
Miriam, to be honest, I'm made to understand when somebody is in power, you would have to do everything possible to cover them up. Let's look for the example of the deputy president. He's always against corruption, yet he's the corruptest man in this world. I mean, in Kenya currently, the man we're having, William Ruto, is very corrupt. But when he goes out there, he's the holier than thou. I think, can he stop covering himself in the sheep's clothes and shows his face? And I think so. For example, the anger, the bitterness is displaying each and every day. I laughed yesterday, and it's true, about a tweet that was saying the only time we've seen Raila angry was during the 2007 election and the 2017 and 2017 about something sort of education. But how many times have we seen our deputy president angry? Each and every day. Today he's talking of corruption. Tomorrow he's talking of mishandlement of funds. The other day he's talking of the president. The other time he's talking about the kigeugeu and the handshake. I mean, he's always bitter each and every day. And I always say, before you point a finger into others, can you first look at the fingers pointing yourself? Look first into your ways, because the deputy president got so many cases, including of the ICC, got so many cases against him. Why can't he just also come out clean and said, I did 1, 2, 3, and 4? Instead of him saying, I did, the government is doing this, the others are doing this, my president, the Raila, So the whole basic thing is, these people who are involved in corrupt leaders, can they be summoned now? Can they be carved out? Despite I being I love Azimio, yes. For example, Miriam always said, let us hit the hammer, and I don't fear to speak the truth. For example, Sabina Chege had an issue, I think, the other day. But what happened lately? She should have been summoned. I mean, she had to face them, because after all, she's still a Kenyan, she's still a politician. We look upon, and I love her so much, but I mean, she has to explain the consequences of her action and her utterances. That is what a normal Kenyan and a Kenyan who loves the country does. You just can't run away and all of a sudden you are cleared out. How? Waigoro and Tito, when they just do a thing within friction of seconds, they are always behind bars. I mean, how special are some people? Yes.
All right. Thank you so much. And I'm sure Kenyans have so much to say about these matters. Let's see how that will play out. And, there's a story here on page 2. Let me just look at it on the Star newspaper, and then we'll just move on to another matter on a woman, MCA aspirant. Her name is Rosemary Ogutu. Okay. She's vying for a seat in North Alego as an MCA. So the political environment is hostile for women. It is doubtly so to widows. Society regards widows as lesser women and calls them derogatory names such as wives of the graveyard. It is even more unwelcoming when they seek political seats. The society views us as social misfits because we are mourned later, like wives of the graveyard. That is itself is demeaning. If you ask for votes, they just wonder what this widow wants from them. Matabel Ogunde said she spoke during a Widows Empowerment and Awareness Forum in Kamolo in Alego Songa constituency at the weekend. The meeting brought together widows who are aspiring for political seats in Siaya County, male widow champions and community stakeholders. It's very interesting because I knew that like our political terrain and dynamics and the level playing ground, which is not really there, it's already hard for a woman who is aspiring for any position in this country. But it appears to be specifically very hard even for widows, and specifically, I don't know, from this community. I don't know if that is the same from where you come from, like because your husband died, now you're looked at differently, or is it still the society and how we look at women and the leadership, especially when it comes to matters politics, the mindset we have towards women leaders? Is it the same from where you come from, Gladwell?
Miriam, wherever I come from, such things don't exist. And if they do, it is from our great grandparents who are there. And that is in the longest century, decades of years, whereby women were looked upon. But upon this era we are living in, actually, if I was asked what I know of what a man can do, women, by the way, do it better. And for example, if you're given a task, and for that, we could be doing, for example, random sitting positions. We just place a woman in the leadership position of a president. Trust you me, women can do wonders in our country, but women are never given chances to lead because we have a mentality of a man has to be an MP, a man has to be a president.
Okay, we seem to be having a bit of a technical hitch there, yes. But I think what you're trying to explain is that what we have is a very patriarchal society. Go ahead.
Yes, Miriam. So I'm saying, who said that women can't read? And I would add Miriam Ogutu. She's your namesake with me, Ogutu. Can she go and fight for that position? And trust you, Miriam, women will do good. We do marvelous in leadership positions, but we don't have the people to support us. Another thing about women, sijui kama umesikia hii Miriam, adui ya mwanamke ni mwanamke. We are the enemy of our own we are the enemies of our own women. Miriam, when you get an achievement, your fellow women is never happy for you. So it all starts also with us women. I mean, for example, the way the Mother Karua joined NAC, I felt well. I felt good. I felt proud. The way Pauline Njoroge went accompanied Baba, I felt nice because that's a win for us women. But we take it that because somebody has been chosen, she's like, and then we have to have a mentality for you to be in a position. You have to do some of these crazy things to get the positions. Who said that there are people who sweat for the positions? There are people who scratch. They start from the scratch to attain those positions. So I think leadership is definitely open to everybody, and it doesn't cost you anything to lead it. It just comes from within you. So as for Rosemary, can she go for the position, whether the husband died or not? And I believe, and I hate this culture and believe that and I call them stupid culture. We are beyond that. Because somebody died, because somebody did this, you can't lead. No. Also faced with this issue with some culture where you get people like triplets or more so. A child is drawn away because she or he is termed as a bad omen. Who said so? Children are blessings. So some cultures actually should be banned from our community. The same way we always against FGM. Can we be so against some other culture things that are happening in our country for betterment of our tomorrow?
All right, especially the cultures that seems to be retrogressive, and sometimes it's not even the culture, it's just the mindset and how the society is. I think there are other issues. As much as we do have a lot of progress when it comes to having women occupy these very important spaces, and we see that is even in our constitution, it is a requirement for at least a 2/3 gender the balance, because we're trying to achieve that. But even with that progress we're making, there's still others that needs a lot of awareness creation, especially within the communities down there in the grassroots, because there's still people who don't believe a woman can be a leader. I was in Kajiado County over the weekend, and I was talking to a few people there, and there's a member of parliament right now there is a lady, and I think now she's going to vie for for the governorship. And they were saying, you know, she's really done a good job as a member of parliament. But now when it comes to the governorship position, I don't think people will be open to electing her. I said, why? If she did a great job as an MP, why would you not elevate her position so that she's able to transform, you know, this county? And they said, you know, we from our clan, we might have believed in her and you know, offered her and elected her to in that position. But the larger community and other clans might not be very, you know, happy to have a woman as a governor. And that stunned me, because I thought if the track record speaks for itself and she's done a good job as a member of parliament, should they not be using that to judge how much she can do if she gets the, you know, the governor position? So I think this is still as much as we're making progress, but also, yes, and as you've rightfully said, Gladwell, there's some cultural attitudes and mindset we have as a society and different societies here in Kenya communities that are still very retrogressive, and women must fight harder, many times more than men, to prove that they can actually be good leaders. So yes, it's very interesting. But anyway, let's move on. And President Kenyatta on page 6 on the Daily Nation. President Kenyatta will begin the much-awaited campaign tour of his restive Mount Kenya region to market Azimio la Umoja One Kenya flag bearer Raila Odinga after the completion of some projects and Jubilee party primaries. Jubilee strategists want the head of state to delay his offensive to ensure the party line-up is complete for the August 9 polls so that he does not endorse any aspirant before the nominations. He had been expected to launch the campaigns for Mr. Odinga after the Sagana 3 meeting, but has yet to do so a month later. Mr. Kenyatta portrayed Deputy President William Ruto as dishonest and criticized the performance of his dockets under his supervision. He also censored him for premature campaigns that have unsettled the second term of the Jubilee administration. So finally, President Uhuru Kenyatta is gearing up to go start selling Raila Odinga to Mount Kenya region. And I know that is something that you've been calling for, Gladwell. And you've been saying the reason why there are voters who are confused and undecided on their, you know, why they should support Raila is because he has not been sold enough time. The presence of Azimio has not been very, you know, very visible in Mount Kenya region, but President Uhuru Kenyatta is you know, preparing to do that now. Will that make any difference, or are we, the time is not on their side?
Miriam, time is always on our side, and it's better late than never. But I'll just say much little about the whole issue. My president, as you go out to face the Mount Kenya people, can you have your choice of words? What you say matters. Have your choice of words, and you know the Mount Kenya people. So as you talk to them, get your choice of words to talk to them. Yes, and we will listen. I said the Mount Kenya people, we are very good listeners. And can he plead with us? Can he tell us, I've done this 1, 2, 3 because of this? What happened between my deputy president or the summon that became because of 1, 2, 3? And we will listen, Miriam. Yes.
Okay. All right, thank you. Sasi Paul has tried to join us back. He's been having a bit of a technical difficulties. The reception from his side has not been great, but he's tried again. Paul, can you hear me? And good morning to you.
Good morning. Trying so hard.
Yes, I can see. Yeah.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Let's just try this perhaps one more time. President Uhuru Kenyatta is planning to start selling Raila Odinga in Mount Kenya and is planning to make a tour in Mount Kenya region, because I think there has been some complaints from the voters there that the president and Azimio team has not done enough to come in and campaign and, you know, seek for the votes and try to speak to the electorate. So with President Uhuru Kenyatta now set to do that, will that make any difference?
Yes, of course, the press party has been Azimio or coalition. Now there have been visions with Azimio coalition parties. So I think the reason have not been all count because of those not being set. Pierce by the heading going to Mount Kenya regions that already settled all their or offenses. It will be a good process or the concerns that is what raised been said to move the movie team. So I think maybe they do.
Okay. Paul, I'm afraid we're not able to really get you clearly. I'm afraid we're not really able to, the connection is not very clear. So I think we'll just move on. We apologize for that. Hopefully, the next time your connection will be much better because we don't have time. So Mutua targets Raila's running mate position. Mandela Chap leader Alfred Mutua is spoiling for a fight with Wiper boss Kalonzo Musyoka in quest for the running mate position in the Azimio la Umoja One Kenya coalition, whose flag bearer is Raila Odinga. Speaking in Nairobi yesterday, Dr. Mutua said the country needs the wisdom of an elder statesman and the vigor of a youthful person. The outgoing Machakos governor described himself as a youthful leader full of energy and strategy that could be capable. Therefore, the party told me I am capable. Therefore, with the urging of my party members, present myself for consideration as running mate for the position of Deputy President William Ruto. And we know, Kalonzo also has come out and said, he's a Deputy President hopeful in the Azimio coalition. And I saw also leadership of KANU coming out and saying, hey, you should consider Gideon Moi as well in this position. And then just yesterday, Lee Kinyanjui, Nakuru governor, came out and said, Mount Kenya region must be given this position. And so Raila seems to, how do you see this working out? And Mutua offering himself, for this position. How will this change the matrix?
My question to Mutua, where was he from day one? Where was he? Another thing with Kalonzo, for Christ's sake, Kalonzo, he's a watermelon. He'll just the same. Actually, when I see Kalonzo, I see the deputy president. The same way when you just get into partnership with somebody, then after you get much power and more privileges, you just divert. That is Kalonzo Musyoka. Is always that way, a watermelon. Kesho ako hapa, the other day he's here. So as for Kalonzo, and here is the deputy president. He's the deputy president. They're going to. I can be so shocked with the Gideon Moi. I don't know much about it, but what I know about the Raila getting a running mate, the deputy president, will be it will be a difficult way to choose. It will be he'll have the difficult moment to choose, because I said at the end of it all, it will just bring chaos. Somebody else like Peter Kenneth has been with Raila in almost everything he does. Then we got Mother Karua. But I would wish, and we have said, can we give chances to women? I think in Kenya, we've never had a deputy president who is a woman. Why don't we give it a try and we see how it goes? Let us have a balance, and I wish our country could be that. We have a balanced leadership, whereby when the president is a woman, the vice president or the deputy president is a man, and vice versa. I think it can work for us, whereby we have the gender gender equality. So Mutua, can he hold his horses? He has his own party, I believe so. So let him just follow from behind. If he's in Azimio, let him follow the trail just as the rest are following. Let him go for the governor seat if he's going for one, or the MP seat, whatever position he's taking in Machakos. Because at the end of it all, I'm telling you, Miriam, Raila will have a difficult moment having his running mate, because everybody is in for it.
Okay, all right. And Governor Mutua is serving his second and last term, so I think he's trying to posture himself and maybe to become. I don't think he really means it, because if Raila was to choose a deputy president for Mukambani, I think from everybody's top of the list, Kalonzo Musyoka perhaps will be the preferred candidate, seeing how much he has had to sacrifice for Raila and the history before that. So if we were to look at that, Kalonzo perhaps will stand a better chance. So maybe Mutua does not really mean that he wants to be the deputy. Of course, he laid his case and he's given his reasons. But maybe he's just, upping his stakes so that if there are other considerations to be made in other positions of appointments or whatnot, he could be considered. I'm just thinking, because at this point, as you say, there are people who have been loyal and who have been working with Raila Odinga, even when it was not popular for them to do so, but they did. They've been there since day one. And you would think that, and I think that's why Leki Nyanchui, was trying to say yesterday, because they have been there. They've been working with Azimio, with Raila since the beginning. So if anybody was to be considered, perhaps the people who have been there since the beginning of this journey. But anyway, we'll see how that will pan out. But I'm sure this is a headache for Raila Odinga, as it is a headache for, the Kenya Kwanza team led by Deputy President William Ruto. And of course, the clock is ticking, so they only have a couple of days before they are able to settle that and present that to the registrar of parties, even as we, get ready for the August elections. To other matters, still in politics, Deputy President William Ruto yesterday opened a new battlefront with his boss, President Kenyatta, over the 2022-2023 budget and asked MPs allied to him to reject it. And should the legislators fail to alter the budget, the DP promised to dismember it if he wins the State House race in August 9th general election. The DP said the 3.31 trillion Kenya shillings budget for the financial year starting July, that was recently read in Parliament by Treasury Cabinet Secretary Uhuru was not people-friendly and only seeks to increase the cost of living. If the government bulldozes its way and passes the budget, he said then his government, if he wins the August race, would make changes to the expenditure vote through supplementary budget proposals. So let me just read for you verbatim what Deputy President William Ruto said yesterday. The budget was read recently and it seeks to increase the cost of basic commodities such as water, bread, maize, flour, and motorcycles. We want to tell them that the budget won't be passed in Parliament, and if it does, we'll overturn it after 3 months so that it can be a budget of the common mananchi, the DP said. And, we've seen Ruto, even in Parliament, a couple of times before saying, because from this impression, he means that he does have the numbers in Parliament to overturn this budget, when it's brought forth and debated in Parliament, which will, I think, in the next coming few days, and then before it is, agreed upon. So he's saying he will mobilize his members of Parliament to not to support this, budget. I don't know. So many times the DP has tried to, act as though he has the numbers only for the bill or the issue to come to Parliament or Senate and be defeated. So what is likely to happen this time round?
Miriam, for sure. Each and every day it's all about the deputy president, him saying this, and finally he always gets defeated. And that's a clear indication, because he's already said that he will change the way, he'll change the budget in case he wins. So that means that so many things he will change. But my question is he in the government currently? Mm-hmm. That is my always because there's something I need to understand. Is he in the government? Something else. That is what a hustler does. I don't know. Miriam, have you ever checked the meaning of a hustler?
Yes. We've done here several times.
Yes. So I think even the term hustler itself is an insult to the people who call themselves hustler. Because I don't know. I don't know what triggered me, and I had to check the meaning of a hustler, and I felt frustrated with the meaning of the word hustler. Do our Mama Mbogas, the one he is always saying that our Mama Mboga, our Buddha guys, do they deserve such a name, to be honest? Another thing with the deputy president, I love the way he criticizes the government, always. And when he comes to us, it's be like, I always do this, I do this.
Mm-hmm. Okay. We seem to be having another issue there. So before Gladwell comes in, just a bit of what that bill said. The finance bill shows that the state targets higher taxes on popular products, including motorcycle, cosmetics and beauty products, jewelry, beer, wines and spirits, chocolate and bottled water to raise an additional 50.4 billion Kenya shillings for the year starting July. The excess duty charged on a motorcycle unit will be raised to 13,403 Kenya shillings per unit, up from 12,184. So an increase of slightly over 1,000 shillings there. currently marking a 10% jump that will impact the affordability of the two-wheelers, popularly with Kenyans seeking to beat the traffic in congested towns and cities to all tackle difficult terrains in rural areas without good roads. This marks a double blow for boda operators who have also been included under compulsory third cover insurance, prompted by the rising number of accidents that have left many dead or injured and unable to pay hefty hospital bills. And I think these are two issues here. Of course, the excess duty that has now been increased on the bodas by slightly 1,000 Kenya shillings there. But also, the bodas operators now will be required to take a third-party insurance. If you go to the Kenyatta National Hospital, there is a specific section or ward that has just been left for boda accidents. And they're tragic, and they're many. So it is about time. And when a boda hits you, they don't have the cover, so you'll have to foot the bill for yourselves or something like that. So by the government, now, wanting them to have a compulsory third cover insurance, as like any public service, transport you have in this country, was it a bad idea, or this will maybe have them more careful, or this will bring some order in the manner in which the bodas operate in this country, with politics aside?
Miriam, yes, this one will all make them to be careful and leave alone even the boda issues. I don't know, Miriam, if you have also noticed there is also an issue with an NHIF. A normal Kenyan citizen pays 500 bob each and every month for NHIF for the health facilities. But now what happens when one gets sick? The NHIF can't actually cater much as you expected, yet you've been paying that NHIF, for example, for the first 10 years or so years. And when you get sick, and another thing with the NHIF, they don't cater for some illnesses. For example, the chronic diseases. And that's why you find like cancer patient, they go through a lot because the 500 a common mwananchi pays doesn't do much. And that is when you find there's the story of inpatient and outpatient. For example, there was a drug when I had a kidney issue, I was buying the human albumin. The human albumin, NHIF can't cater for it, Miriam. You have to have cash. And one dose went for 10,000 and the doctor has recommended 5. So that is 50,000. Monday to Friday, yet you've been paying for that NHIF. Another thing with the civil servant, and that's why the civil servant always suffer, job groups. For example, the issue with Coptic Avenue, they only take from job group L for you to be admitted in their facilities and have the services. As for the rest, you can't because of the job group. So it's not only even with the bodas, in the insurances, but also mostly with the NHIF. And that is why our Kenyan people, we are suffering. We pay for you, a person who goes to Mjengo just to get a 500 for the family. To pay 500 for the NHIF, can't get proper medication because the NHIF, what you're paying is less. So I think our government should also come up with a way with the NHIF, such a way it caters for everything. That 500 bob, it caters for everything because you're paying it continuously every month. Yes, Miriam.
All right, and I hear you. So some of these policies should be reviewed as far as NHIF is concerned, and I agree with you in that regard. Thank you so much. So this marks the end of our show this morning. And also, I don't know, why do they have to increase taxes on cosmetics and beauty products and jewelry, surely? Because now this will affect us. Good makeup is already expensive, so now we'll have to pay more for that. And by good makeup, I mean the one that is safe for your skin, because these other ones sometimes you can apply and they can bring you a lot of problems. So now we'll have to be paying more for that. I don't know if I'm happy about that this morning, but it's not a basic need. I think people are worried about unga and all these things that is very important and basic. So. Okay, I think it's a fair game. Thank you so much, Gladwell. Kiragu, thank you. Paul, I know you really tried so hard, but the connection this morning was not very good. Hopefully, it will be much better when we come back here at 11 a.m. with another conversation. But right now, we have to make way for another show. We'll see you at 11 a.m. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Miriam Ogutu. A very good morning to you.